Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Games from Almost in Full Color. Today's video, I wanted to talk about how you can use GeForce Now Ultimate with your ROG Ally or really any other PC gaming handheld in order to get some great performance at a very minimal battery cost. So let's get into it. Okay, so for anyone who isn't aware, GeForce Now Ultimate is NVIDIA's cloud gaming service that gives you access to the 4080 graphics card. Now, where GeForce Now differs from other services is that GeForce Now allows you to play games that you already own on Steam, Epic Games Store, the Ubisoft Store, GOG, and other places like that. So it's not locked to just NVIDIA, and you can still download these games from those stores to your local device and play them even outside of GeForce Now. That's why I said it works really great with the ROG Ally or other PC gaming handhelds, because you don't lose access to those games you bought. You can still have them, you can still download them and play them locally on your device. But when you're at home or you're somewhere where you have a stable internet connection, you don't have to use the local hardware on the device that eats up the battery, especially if you're trying to play at a better performance level. You can use GeForce Now, get the greatest of settings when it comes to these handheld devices. Like for the ROG Ally, it has a 1080p screen at a 120 Hz refresh rate. Using GeForce Now Ultimate, you can run any AAA title at 1080p, 120 FPS, max game settings, and you're not going to lose a frame. It's going to run 120 smooth and never drop a frame because of the power of the 4080 card. So this is a great alternative. Like I said, you don't have to use a lot of your battery in order to play these games at a great performance level, especially if you're sitting at home, where I feel like a lot of handheld gamers usually are playing these devices anyway. And for the times that you're not at home or you're not near a stable internet connection, like if you're on the train or somewhere like that, you can just use the local device's hardware in order to play these same games. Like I said, you don't lose anything. You only really add to the device's capabilities when you pair these handheld PCs with GeForce Now Ultimate. So for instance, here's some footage of me running Destiny 2 at 1080p, 120 FPS, max settings. And you can see that the ROG Ally is handling it like a champ because I'm using GeForce Now Ultimate. If you even look closer, you'll see that the total wattage being drawn from the battery is hovering around 10, maybe 11 watts. So you're using the same amount of power to play at 1080p, 120 FPS, max settings that you would use if you were playing at a lot lower resolution and a lot lower frame rate if you was using the local hardware on the device. Now, for a game like Destiny 2, it kind of really shows like the benefit of using GeForce Now Ultimate because Destiny 2 is an online only game anyway. So it's not like, you can play this game outside of the internet. So anytime you're playing this game, you probably are near the internet and you're on the internet. And since it only takes maybe around 20 megabits down to really run GeForce Now Ultimate 1080p at 120 smoothly, most people are going to at least have that type of speed with their internet connection. Also, if you really wanted to be like a super battery saver, you could dumb the ROG Ally down to 720p, 60 FPS, and you'll be in single digits when it comes to the power wattage being drawn from the battery. I was able to get it down to around about 9. Sometimes it would even dip into 8. It all really just depends on how bright you want the screen. At about 50% screen brightness at 720p, 60 FPS, max settings, I was around 9 watts. But also remember, I was still using the on-device screen recorder on the ROG Ally. So when you do, record gameplay while you're playing it, it does tick up the wattage a little bit. Really not much. I would say maybe like 0.5 watts or something like that. So it's not a big draw, but it does add a little bit more to it when I'm trying to record this gameplay. So if you were to bring the screen brightness down to maybe 25%, stick to that 720p, 60 FPS setting for the screen, you most likely will be down at about 8 watts. And since it's a 40 watt hour battery, that lets you know right there, you're going to get probably close to about 5 hours of gaming, which is a lot more than you would get on any type of game like this if you were running it local on the hardware. So that's why I said it works great with the device. It's not an either or. You don't have to have just GeForce Now Ultimate if you want an ROG Ally. But if you have ROG Ally or a device like it, you might as well use a service like this when you're near internet because it'll really help the device shine. And the times that you're not near internet, then just run it locally on the device until you get back to internet. And that's the greatest part about putting these two things together, because without internet, you can't play GeForce Now, but you can still play it on the device. And when you're near internet, instead of just eating the device's battery, trying to play at a higher wattage so that you can get a little bit better performance, you might as well just offload that to the GeForce Now service. Let them do all the heavy lifting while you play at a beautiful 1080p 120 FPS. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and like always, thanks for supporting the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.